Streaming. Okay, let's going to try this. We're going to do take 2 here, guys. I was in the middle of updating software, forgot I was doing it. The KC chat in 533 was quite lively today. Same olds from years and years on. These trolls that follow us. If I could find a Groupon for them, I would. Send them all to psychotherapy down at the mall. I'm sure they're more than qualified to deal with whatever problems these social leeches have. But they should be able to hear you now. Yeah, sorry about that, Everett. And Janine Fisher, we got a whole new crowd in there. Man, the texting system has just been phenomenal. I can't wait to start bringing this into the Kingdom stuff. I'm still dipping into the KC chat, dealing with the Miller type trolls. Miller was running like 4 accounts today. I mean, the way he speaks and his type of insult is just so common. Yeah, there's it's the man, what was the TV show? That 70s show when they found the keg in the middle of the road, and there was these 2 guys that were like, they would, oh look, it's breaking, give it back, and they walk up, one breaks it, and the other goes, oh, here's your stuff. That's what I think of Miller. It's like I'm just, and then when he broke the tab, it's like, well, why don't you have a beer tap? Because you broke it. It's kind of the same thing with the Kingdom. Why don't you have a Kingdom? And today we spent almost an hour over them. Why can't we just put this in line? You mean an off-game app that everybody needs to know the password, the room name, have to download the software, put it in their computer? Or we could use this thing called a web browser where you don't have to provide everybody your personal information, like your cell phone number to find you, to add you, and you got to be a friend of somebody to get added. I've seen Line. It's a pain in the ass. All you're assuring with Line is at some point in the day, the guy's going to get frustrated, quit, and give up. So we thought about this for a while. Is why not open communication? I hate forums on websites, and I know everybody thinks I'm over there promoting my forums on the websites, but I hate forums on the websites. They tend to attract a large spam content. And I don't just mean people that are there to annoy other people. That would be fine, actually. The spam bots in itself. Man, there's a letter from the VA I hadn't opened. I better start paying attention to the mail on my desk. I forgot you're in there. Gun loves Maya. Maya is probably one of our little douchey trolls, just so everybody knows. No one would do what Maya's doing unless they were trying to hurt the longevity of the Kingdom. There's no gain to it. No C10 or C12 has enough RSS to work up a C26's next building. It's just not it. Or IT. What do you mean, Rochambeau? The text message works. It costs me money. It's not like texting from your phone. I'm tied directly into the phone company, so I actually, and like when you get a phone, and you get a phone plan, and it has unlimited texting on it, right? Well, they figured out what the average person texts per month, and they build that into everybody's plan. It's socialized data planning. So when you're paying $50 a month for a plan, and then you go, well, this other place over here will sell it to me for $29 a month, but there's no texting. So if you're one of these people who don't text, the $29 a month is a good deal. If you're one of these people in a house with a 12-year-old girl, whoo! I have heard people hit some $700-800 phone bills back in the days when you paid a penny a text or 2 pennies a text. And if you remember that, that's what I'm paying. I pay 2 cents for every text out there. I had Well, what's really bad about it, and this is why we have all these little douchebags in the gaming stuff, and that's why I guys, you cannot believe the opportunity that politicians are trying to take with what they see as the detriment. When you hear them walk out on TV and you hear this little soundbite that says, video games are ruining the society. Well, they're talking about those trolls we had in KC today. They really are. Because they exist, we should take control over every form of speech on the internet. And we lost a big chunk of it when Obama gave ICANN away. The United States no longer, the only country with a free speech in the amendment, no longer controls free speech. And people know so little about the web, they go, ICANN? What the hell is ICANN? It's the phone book for the web. What translates words into numbers. And when you control that phone book, you can redirect thought in damn near real time. And I mean microseconds. The girl up front, yeah. And I wasn't the first one to put that out. Almost everybody thinks Maya's a man, just the manner it speaks. There's not any thought there, that's for sure. Definitely not somebody who pays attention, or they're too busy determining that whatever they're going to see isn't worth seeing, because they're giving away the gear that was bought for $300 for free. Why would you spend $300 on something you get for free in 7 days? For those who are just rolling in from Guns of Glory and not specifically from Kingdom 533, I launched a new series on the new game in the new graphics and all the new stuff. And I'm trying to redo some of the old videos with some updated content. Man, they've got a great, and I mean absolutely outstanding starter program for New Kingdoms and new accounts in New Kingdoms. Okay, and so it doesn't matter if you show up to a kingdom 10 days late, 20 days late, or 2 years late, because if you remember the video series I did a year ago, that's when they rolled this event out in test platform. I was in that. I did 6 castles where I built on it. I built a farm last night from start to C10 in catacombs, all the quests done, 3.5 million power, ready to start farming, 4 hours. It was literally ready to go. So, what's up, Godfather? Man, we noticed how fast you grew, man. You like jumped up out of nowhere. I've been telling my guys over in RRG and in Kingdom 533, keep the gear. It's too easy to want to be up there on that leaderboard. And all those people who slapped that gear on to see where their name would fall in a rank system, letting Guns of Glory rank them. Well, Guns of Glory now turned around and put a number next to your name that says that when the first event rolls out, we're going to hand out these 800% free stats. You're not going to get them because you put your gear on too early. It was one of those things where we're trying something new with the New Kingdom. And the something new is I'm going to make open comms. And we have rogersraiders.com/533. There's no K in front of it. I probably should make one with the K just so people do it. There's a forum board in there. No one's used it yet. Not one person. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a set of proposed standards. Not rules, standards. Rules have to be enforced by somebody. Standards are what we all know to be true. No tile hitting unless you're in a war. We all know this. Literally, they wanted to have an hour-long discussion over whether or not we should have tile hitting. Why? All you're doing is killing troops for a number on the board. And if you're there for that, then you're there to hurt people. And they cannot get Guns of Glory puts out let's say you go out and you spend $100 and somebody else spends $10. Well, Guns and Glory just became the auctioneer of who was going to be the slaver and who was going to be the slavee, the slave. And one guy was in KC chat was like, I don't understand why we can't just do top 20. And what he was thinking was he had a C20, but he was in an alliance ranked number 45 and didn't realize that he didn't understand the vernacular that the trolls were trying to put in place where they were allowed to freely go kill anybody that was smaller than them. And he was, oh yeah, he had no clue. Oh my, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm a C20. That's not going to affect me. I'm like, no, it's top 20 alliances. So all the new people coming to the kingdom would be trolled by the people that were there on day one. Of course they're going to be bigger. They were there on day one. But I have this humongous platform here to keep bringing new people that want to play together. The goal that I set for Kingdom 533 is at the 1.5 year mark, I would still like to see 600 active players. It's a lofty goal, but it's only double what we did in K362 right now. K362 still has 300 people who will show up to a KVK. 1.5 years, well, yeah, about 1.5 years later is where we're at on that one. So and there's a lot we learned from that. We tried all the backroom stuff, the backroom comms, and when something gets said in the back room and then it gets repeated differently in public, what am I supposed to do? No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. You know, that's he said, she said crap. All I'm asking for at this point, how about we just make a page where if you're in our 5-year alliance, you go over and say, well, I think we should do this. And then I'll say, well, I think we should do this. And I'll explain why. And it also gives me time to pull up any information I may have to show why I've seen that not work before, or why I might want to twist on what we're talking about. Because I did bring one idea from K312, and it was, of all things, the troll group who's fighting me on everything. This was their rule with the STR had a rule with Mom: no hive hunting. You could attack each other, fair chase. If a Mom player was out and about, an STR player could jump in behind him and kill him. It wasn't a violation of allies. No allies, but if you were inside your hive, you were pretty much it was more like safe base. No one, the hive nap, believe it or not, and it didn't work out long term when there was only 2 alliances left, because these same trolls murdered their kingdom with every other idea they had. But the hive nap, yeah, we don't know how many of the agitators are pro agitators. According to Revenge Gamer, you know, that he knows. I haven't seen proof of it, so I'm not going to say he's like the guy knows his stuff, and I don't doubt him, because I know that I'm stuttering around a little bit. I know that Guns of Glory has a psychotherapist on staff deliberately to create conflict, because conflict equals cash in this business model. So who are the paid agitators and who are the guys who just jumping on and they think everything they do is funny? He's like, ha ha ha, I'm so funny. I had no sense of humor, so it really doesn't matter at any point. But I also don't have a fight in the game. So they, you know, the usual things like, well, you're just trying to be a dictator. Really? What did I ask anybody to do yet? All I asked for was open communications. I don't know how the hell that makes me a dictator, but it does. And I'll tell you how it makes me a dictator. I'm about to invest $6,000 to $10,000 into this kingdom this year, and I want it to be successful. And I believe that one of the big mistakes I made in 362 was I kept quiet for too long. I knew who the trolls were. I knew what they were. And I should have just said, screw public opinion, and gone and zeroed them when I had the chance. And kept them zeroed. And kept them zeroed. And kept them zeroed. So that they could have never caught up. And that might be where we're heading with this stuff. The unfortunate part for these people who's like, and I guarantee you somebody that's listening right now is like, oh, I'll just go probably burn in my castle as we speak. I can grow to C30 and have 1 troop, guys. 1 single troop, and I can go to C30 just as fast if I got a full march. And you get that. That's true, Greg. There becomes the push too hard, and the guys that are pushing too hard, the ones I block, like the Hot Mama, and that's all. Man, like 4 of those things I blocked was Miller. I blocked some guy in a wife beater shirt with lizards on his shoulder because repeating bullshit that didn't mean nothing. I mean, once you can't hold your train of thought, I mean, I lose my train of thought all the time, but I started out with a point before I started speaking. The call me yes, Gray. Burn, Maya, burn. I told everybody we had, and we booted 2 of them this morning, but I know there's 2 more spies that are in the alliance, because one of the traits of the STR crew, the little troll crew that's been following me, the day they knew which kingdom I was in, they built 50 accounts, and they have at least 2 to 3 in every single alliance in the top 20. Oh, I'm not going to open my game tonight. This is a politics talk. It's an in-game politics talk. I am trying to keep this on there. Like I said, RogersRaiders.com/533. The point to putting it on the webpage is you don't have to become a member of my website to read. And all you have to do is know what your R5 should, if they want to have an opinion, want to have. They keep talking about voting and representation, but what I've witnessed. Yeah, I've been hacked. I caught your comments earlier there, bub. Weren't you the one that says, I hope I die? You hope I die from COVID on one of my other videos a little earlier? Why? Oh, I've been hacked. Fuck that. Or what are you saying fuck that too? You got to put things in context. This is why a record of what is said is necessary. Even with this one, keeping a record, I can at least challenge at this point. It says, can you put fuck that in context, please? In context, please. What are you saying fuck text to? Unfortunately for the 420 Alliance, there's probably about 15 guys in that alliance that are more loyal to me than they're going to be loyal to what's going on over there with the backroom dealing. It's not going to shake up the way it has in the past. The unfortunate thing is I've got a megaphone. Great big fat red one right here, guys. I get to put my opinion out, and I get to clarify my opinion. And I'm offering other people the ability to do that on the same platform that 500,000 people go through. Oh, yeah, because of the trolls. Well, you don't know that it's from China. That's an assumption, Arkin. Yeah. Where is it? I'm still waiting on Juggernaut and what's her name, Miko. They wanted a private room. Those 2 YouTubers. Now Miko, I think, is a Fun Plus insider. She knows things way earlier than what is possible to know them. Like, she's been given information. I watch her just because she's going to tell me what's up like a day and a half, 2 days before. Doesn't mean I got time to deal with it. She apparently has time to get that information early and puts it out really early. I'll tell you a fun thing to do with those photos, guys, is you can drag a photo into the Google imaging and it will do a facial recognition search, and then you can find out if somebody's a model somewhere if they just put it out. Yeah. There's Maya turned around yesterday and was quote unquote playing police cop. We had an agreement with 420. I said, none of this BS, no police in the kingdom. They agreed. And then they went in and they did the giggle. I'll drop tags and go do it anyway. And that was Maya. And then I jumped next to Maya and she sent 3 marches at me. And I was sitting there telling Creep, I was like, Creep, he goes, what's in the March? And I looked at the March and says, I should let it hit me because it's going to go splat. He's like, oh, no, don't show him your stat stuff yet. And I was like, so we moved over, and then they went, the 420 took her back, and I have a feeling that a whole bunch of people that watch and listen here were saying, hey, he's trying to be reasonable. He didn't try to hurt you. What are you doing? And what they're running into is Trick inside the AC running his mouth, trying to do his spiel inside. We don't even think Maya would be hard to zero. And we've been doing this a long time. Guys, if you haven't learned anything from watching, what is it now, 212 videos from Kingdom 362, we punch up. We have never been the biggest kingdom, and we have never been in an event where we had the biggest castle. Ever. And we have an awesome win record. Even with the guys I don't agree with over in K362, which have all bunched up in one alliance, everybody plays as a team until, I'd say last month, wouldn't you, Koji, that it's kind of gotten into the I'm the biggest guy, I'm going to do what I want type stuff is. Reckless with somebody else's money. And the guy that he's talking about, I won't name him, I won't call him out on that, because it's not that I dislike the guy, it's just I knew what his personality was like, and he grew in my alliance, and when he got big, he actually caused me problems because he got so big that the members started falling into the, hey, come over here. Hey, come over here. And then I told him, I said, quit doing that. They're going to expect it every time. And like a month and a half later, says, you know how much gold I'm spending protecting everybody? And I said, I told you not to do it. They're playing their accounts. Your play skills diminish. It happened to me. There for a while where I was too concentrated on what was taking place over here on other screens. You'll notice your play skill diminish, and then you're filming shit. So it's that shit play because you're not paying attention is now on film, and it makes it harder to put good content out. It's not that I don't know what to do or how to do it. It's just I wasn't doing it at some points. Yeah, well, guys, the YouTube thing was an accident. I had a peanut butter and chocolate moment a couple years ago where I was just helping somebody out in Kingdom 312 that wanted to know how to do something, and I couldn't explain it in 144 characters because you can't talk in Kingdom chat or any other room and explain things properly. It's always out of context and hard to understand. And I have the capability, because I own servers, slap up a web page and build a how-to page. And I did it. I did a little thing. And it was the first one on power gathering. And boom, because I own my own DNS servers and I have my own, I had an advantage over all the Chinese farmers. And I said, okay, I'll go build some more content, because all the Chinese gold farmers are the RSS salesmen, where it's all crap sites. You've been to them. You've been snuck in by them. They're gateway pages. Oh yeah, we're gonna keep the Saturday. I'm gonna try and keep the Saturday night thing going, one way or another. That's unless there's something going on, and like I'm a little distracted by. I did this launch. I had this 7-day plan, and I had a 14-day plan, and then I did the launch. I picked a kingdom. I deliberately picked a kingdom that launched in the middle of the month, so that people wouldn't have, usually the middle of the month people don't have paychecks. Uh, Lawrence, thank you for re-upping your gold sponsorship. The I deliberately picked that to limit the amount of big spenders early. And right now, I can see people chomping at the bit where the conversation that I can't hear, that I know is taking place, based on their actions, is, yeah, on the first of the month, I'm going to be the coiner. Because everybody wants to be the hero. I call them click button heroes. But I picked this kingdom not so much at random, but at timing. And then one day after it did it, I got sick. And I wasn't, I got something that was like more like the flu. I was upset stomach. And then whatever that was sent my blood sugars into orbit. And I mean 800 to 1,000. And I went into a sugar coma for about 40 hours. So I was down for another 2 days. We're on page 4, going on 5. We're not to those pages yet. But I do think that the little troll crew running around knocking off alliances, they're trying to slow down Red Guard raids, because that's going to spawn a whole bunch of people's alliance stuff. But we did 2 Night Sieges. We got a lot of points in Night Siege. We went 13 rounds on Night Siege, and our second time doing it on day 3 of the kingdom. Woof! No, like C10s on that day. I wish we'd had C18s. Some of the easy mobs would come in there and there'd be 5 people in there, and one mob on easy would freaking wipe out those 5 guys. But we still went like 12 rounds on day 2, and they just couldn't. I was like, and they're like, oh man, this sucks. We're guys, you cannot believe how awesome this was. But that's one of the things where the texting portion, where we're going to be able to text the alliance specifically and say, okay, Night Siege in 30 minutes. Get everybody time to get in, get their gear on, get their buffs up. Right. Well, here's the thing that I'm hoping for with the texting that we're parking all the time. If I'm blasting out a text to 100 people and 80 come in and park their accounts, we don't have to move squat. The few people that will be on will be more than enough. And we got that way in Mom for a long time. But then it started getting fewer and fewer and fewer people. What? Yeah, he was on the fly with that stuff. And I copied Merlin for a year. I taught Merlin's style to God knows how many R4s. Now you got to be a little more proactive in what you're paying attention to, which is fine. I still think there's a delay in the system. When I ask somebody to move, they're always moving the next round. And I don't think it's the person that's a problem. I think there's a delay in the system because their comm system for Guns of Glory is separate from their game server. It's not in the same thing in real time. Can you not hear Koji? Arkin? No, you're loud in my headphones. Oh, look at this. Okay, you can hear Koji now. Oh my gosh, yeah. The banter back and forth was me talking to Koji. I'm not Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, I'm like Rush Limbaugh here. I'm just talking to the anonymous black man behind the glass. The they yeah. I have some damn weird hot shortcut on my keyboard where I am muting some of these buttons. I don't know why that is. You guys can hear him now, I'm promising you. Well, maybe not. Holy. I don't think they heard that, I look like I'm crazy on TeamSpeak. Well, hold on here, Arkin. Jump into. It's Koji. Okay, and here's the thing. I updated my software. They updated my live interface. That's why I'm not flipping a bunch of stuff around. I was going to use this one to familiarize myself with a whole bunch of new software. If I go see line, really, you should be. Yeah, I'm not getting any meter movement at all. I turned the speakers on, but my God, that would blast everybody out with the feedback. Monitor and output. On track 1, track 2. Okay, let's try that, Koji. Let's see if I get anything moved on that one. What are the properties align here? Hold on. Device, default. This is Arkin. No. Okay. So I had to do some weird configuration. You remember I had all that problem getting the phones built into where I could record the phones, and I overcame that. And
533.
No, 533. I was in what the hell was my other kingdom?
Okay.
353.
I heard feedback on that one. So was that feedback from what?
I'll keep talking, and they can tell me if they can hear me.
Yeah.
There's a 30-second delay, though.
Oh, my God. I got so many freaking windows open. And here we go. Here we go. I know they can hear me. All right. Sorry, guys. A little technical difficulty here. And this is what
I can hear myself on the stream now.
Okay. I switched views. Hold on. Full webcam with the phone. What is different on here? So.
Well, I don't have any liquor tonight. That's different.
Audio output capture is different. So, if I go full webcam. Hold on. I'm going to cut you off again. And then I'm going to sources. Audio output capture. Add existing. I don't know if I can do this live, actually, though. Okay. Let's try this. Wait a minute. That's full screen with. That's not what I wanted. I want.
Was working for a brief second.
Well, I think it's still working. Full webcam with the phone, and I need to add a source to this. Audio output. And what I got it doing is I got it. See, the reason I got the headsets on while I got this other mic up in here. Okay, so now we're going to find out whether this works, because this was what I was trying to do.
I am back on.
So now we're going to find out if this works. So I got Koji and Arkin with me. Creep's in bed. He's got to get up at 2 in the morning and drive them trucks.
I'll be in bed soon.
Tote them
It's
bales.
been a crazy few days in Nova Scotia.
That's where Arkin's right up there near you.
Are you? Where you live, Arkin?
Creep thinks that Maryland is by Nova Scotia.
Oh. Yeah. Remember, we're in Canada. We're all close.
Blame Canada. Okay, so now everybody can hear Koji and Arkin, right? I believe that's hear you now. Okay. Hey, I fixed that live this time. Normally I can't fix anything live. The software doesn't like to let me add new capture devices while live. That is. But I think since it was already a previous device on another scene, it still works.
Yeah, off topic, Guns of Glory. We had a crazy, you know what happened? There was someone dressed up in an RCMP officer uniform knocking on doors and then shooting people. Like, there's like 23 people he killed over 12 hours now, I think.
So that's how the mass shooting happened, was literally one door. That's not a mass shooting, that's a mass murderer.
It's like a killing spree, I'd say. Yeah, he started small town and jumped on the highway, went to Truro. He just kind of moved along, and so no one knew where he was. If you're on the highway, you can get from where he was killed, I could get to in 15, 20 minutes driving real quick.
Yeah, I answer my door with a revolver that's out of line of sight because we have that kind of problem down here. And then, like, for those who wonder, it's like, oh, what's he gonna do? Oh, hold on, I got a little bit of, I got my year's worth of Guns of Glory money. There's about $30K right there for what we're gonna do for this project. I gotta go. I went and dug that up out of the backyard. Pulled some out from underneath my mattress. Got it ready. Yep. If any of those 12 people had owned a gun, though, it would only been 11 people dead, or 10 people dead, or maybe the first guy, and then it would have been an argument about why that guy had a gun. See, you can't win. That's why the dude.
I don't care about gun control laws. If someone's crazy and they want to kill a lot of people, they're going to find a way to do it. And in this case, people, he was lighting houses on fire. He was going in, and people were coming up to him because he's in an RCMP uniform, thinking, "Oh, the cop's here to help." And then he shot someone who came up to see if he needed help with anything.
Actually, Canada does not have the most strict gun control laws in the world. Canada has some awesome laws for those Americans who want to know things. You can get a background check, but once the background check system is fairly strict, your ex-wife can say, no, you can't have a gun. But once you pass the background check, you can actually order a gun through the mail because you're certified to do so. Or at least you used to be able to. And I guess that would depend on the province. We were trying to duplicate some of those Canada gun laws back in 2000. We were arguing politics back then.
The thing about up here is, for the most part, no one ever really needs one, unless you're going hunting or something. Like, no one, it's not the sort of thing you usually think about, right?
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's all a matter of what's your intent when you leave the house. If I intend to kill somebody, the tool becomes a matter of ease, not a matter of effectiveness.
Exactly. Had that incel in Toronto decide to run a bunch of people over with his car because he'd never seen a vagina before or something, right? I mean, it's all a crazy person.
And about 3 to 5 times a year, somebody in China goes on a killing spree with a knife. I think the record in one run through the train was 150 people he stabbed before they stopped him. That's with a knife. And then you'll find, you can Google up all kinds of them. They're like 60, 70 time. The guys will get to 60, 70 counts. It's like they're having a contest of who's going to kill the most people. But that's, you can't do nothing about that. But I remember what I was going to say now. But it could, we're talking about if the first guy had a gun and stopped him, then you would have had that guy shouldn't have had a gun, and that guy didn't need to die for being on somebody's porch, or you know how the arguments would have gone. But that's because we call them doomsayers. Let's generalize a little more. A doomsayer, a guy who says the end of the world's going to happen, the seas are going to rise. Well, if it happens, he's right. If it doesn't happen, then it's because he warned you that it didn't happen, and you took action so it didn't happen. A doomsayer can never be wrong, ever.
That's genius. Genius.
And that is the left's argument platform, that no matter what you do, you cannot be right arguing with them. And that's That's what you saw in KC today. All you guys are watching that KC stuff. That's why I say stay out of that, is because you have to recognize that speech pattern. Guys, I sit down with frickin' senators and their little Harvard lawyer aides. Trust me, I'm used to the speak. I have made them people cry.
They move in the goalposts every time they talk about something and changing the subject.
Yeah. Insult, change subject. Insult, change subject. It's the go-to move. It is a conditioned response with these people. Yeah, the United States has had the least amount of mass shootings in history, but you would think by listening to the news, it's on the rise. The numbers are down, way down. The numbers started falling the very second that concealed carry laws started spreading across the country. I mean, almost instantly. I've got an article on SaveTheGovernment.com where we were talking about the Florida school shooting a couple years ago, where the police didn't go inside. You know, they stood outside and let the kids keep getting shot inside. And they instantly started talking about gun laws, of course. And I pointed out, I said, well, in the state of Florida, 43,000 women got raped that year. You want to disarm those people too. And they forget who they're disarming. You know, those are the 43,000 women who were unsuccessful at defending themselves. But when we teach concealed carry classes and stuff like that, I've had students come back and tell us, like, I don't know what was going to happen, but I went for my gun and just put my hand on my hip, and they turned and walked the other way, didn't say a word, out in parking lots and dark. You know, you have no record of deterrence. Like I said, the doomsayers always win because it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, or I told you how to fix it and therefore it's been fixed. It works for everybody but Al Gore, because every time Al Gore gives a global warming speech, it snows. I think
anyway, didn't mean to derail the subject.
I'll talk about guns all day long. You want to know where all my money comes from? We got a Democratic governor in the state of New Mexico. They passed a law that says that all private sale transactions have now got to do a background check. Number one, I don't sell to scumbags anyway. But number two, the problem that I have with that law is it disregards the Constitution. In the United States, you are secure in your property, and the government cannot tell you what you can or cannot buy, or will not buy. That's why when the Supreme Court upheld the first Obamacare law, they didn't rule on property. And now Obamacare has been ruled unconstitutional, and that didn't seem to make the news. Al Gore, who made millions and millions of dollars selling his company to an oil company out of Saudi Arabia, who hates oil. But that's where he makes most of his money. It's just hypocritical. It's fun. It's fun to sit back when you're one of these people who actually reads and pays in the know. It gets to be funny until you realize no one else knows. And so if you start talking about it, you sound like a nut because you know something they don't know, and people have been conditioned to reject what they don't know. It's the first thing a person hears is the truth, regardless of whether it is or not. In their mind, they have no conflict to resolved, and it literally burns a pathway of new memory right in their head. And to teach somebody something that contradicts that new pathway is harder to do. We were talking about that the other night, Arkin, when they were talking about, the news walks out. Well, and I'll bring this into politics, real world politics in the KC. Well, we just want an R5 room and we'll go in there and vote. Oh, okay. So that's like fake news. Today the president said something obscene to guys. I said, well, it's the year 2020. Could you show me the video of the president saying something obscene? No. I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you.
I heard he did it.
Yeah, here's my 5 panel of people who will all be offended by what he said and will expound 5 minutes each on just how bad it was. But it's 2020. Can you put what he said up on the screen? Nope, sure can't.
They love their 30-second sound bites that completely things out of context so they can tear it apart. That's all the news does.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you keep calling it the Chinese virus?
Because it's from China.
That made me laugh hard.
The man just has a sense of humor. I mean, it's like back when you asked Russia to go get Hillary's emails. Well, Hillary had already deleted the damn server and took a sledgehammer to every phone that anybody that ever met Hillary had at the FBI's directive 5 months before Donald Trump gave that speech saying, hey, Russia, if you have a copy of her emails, the press would love you if you send them one. He didn't ask them to investigate or steal information. It had already been gone. Hillary was trying to convince everybody that she wrote 30,000 emails on yoga. In a server that she put in her bathroom. I should find it. You know what? I got a video. It's funny. I can't find the original van video for Hillary Clinton. It's gone. I mean, it has been scrubbed from the web. I've got the Russian modified one where a person has been added to the video. This really tall Chinese guy that looks like a security guard, a Secret Service agent, wasn't in the original video. In the original video, when Hillary was passed out, they threw her in the back of a van like she was a sack of flour. And then I swear I had a copy of that video. Then I didn't, so I went to go look for it again, and all I could ever find was the one where suddenly there's this other man walking through the screen, blocking the shot. Because I remember in the original video, you could see her shoes on the ground. I mean, they picked her up. I mean, log tossed her into the back of the van. It was funny. It was like she was a mannequin.
This conversation started talking about KC and went all the way to Hillary getting thrown in a van.
That happens.
It happens. And it's all relative experience. And this is that problem with where I have a problem with some. I think it's relative experience coming forward, and I just start talking about it, which unfortunately some people actually find this entertaining for some reason. It's like, man.
Well, it's just we shoot the shit when we're talking about Guns of Glory, especially when we're drinking, and then we just trail off.
Trail off, yeah. What do you mean the tape?
But
you're heading off?
Yeah, it's midnight. I'm gonna get some sleep.
All right,
take it easy, folks. Good talking with y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks,
Good
man.
meeting you, brother.
Thanks, Koji.
You too, mate.
I don't know that she's going to jail. The number of Republicans who are incestuous in that town are just as bad as the number of Democrats. They're thieves with the different labels. The head of the Senate, my God, why can't I think of his name? Boehner. His daughter-in-law sits on the Bank of China, the first woman ever to sit on the Bank of China. And they loaned Boehner's family's company $50 million to buy cruise ship to move goods back and forth from China. Boehner does not want trade deals to be disrupted with China because it screws over his business, and China financed that business. That's the lead Republican in the Senate. Okay, so we don't, like I said, I look at the facts of what is and what and you sound a little crazy when you say that stuff. I tend to talk about the Democrats a lot because they're so blatant about it. They got so much cover from the media. It's insane. How many times have I played drums or glory drunk? I actually don't drink that much. And I can't. I won't be drinking on the Saturday night drink events. I've got some impending surgeries coming up, and I can't do it. I got a spinal tap I got to do. They got to stick a needle in my eye all the way back to the vein in the back so they can measure the blood pressure coming off the vessel coming off the back of my brain. So they're going to run the needle right straight through all the way to the back and literally tap in there and read the blood pressure that way.
Is that for the headaches?
For the what?
I thought you said you were having migraines.
I am, yeah. That's just to determine what the fix might be. We're getting to the point where I'm pretty sure we're going to wind up putting a cranial stent in at some point. But they got to do 2 more tests to determine how big the pressure is. And it's I've had migraines since the mid '90s. I started having migraines while I was active duty. Governors on the CCP paper. Oh hell! Well, I can tell you right now, I don't think there's been a California governor since Schwarzenegger that hadn't been on CCP payroll. They own the state of California. Some of this building until wait for the building events, guys. Don't let these little trolls worry you. If we get zeroed tomorrow, as long as we're doing catacombs and freaking in our alliance mine, nothing else matters. It really, nothing really matters, because going out and farming tiles is useless now. Just about. It's a little bit extra, but it's, who has that kind of time? I don't even do it on farms. It's 10 farms, 30 million silver and 100 million iron a week, and I only need 1 troop on them. So it's not a big deal anymore. San Francisco. Man, I used to love going to San Francisco too. I remember when we were in the Navy, one of my friends, I shouldn't say his name, his brother was coming out as gay to his dad, and we happened to be up in San Francisco, and we all took his dad out to one of them, I don't know the proper name for them, the transvestite bars. Everybody took him out.
Creep's Basement?
Creep's Basement, yeah. I read the John Durham investigation stuff, and I get some highlight notes from that other people don't get to see from some of the think tank rooms I'm in. And I still think good freaking luck. You got to remember, at the end of the day, these type of people have witnesses who die and people they can buy. Judges, the person who decides what judge they go to. And while one side's playing with the rules and the other side's not, you're going to get rolled. And now we're back to GOG politics. So one side turned around telling everybody, like, oh, top 20 nap. Okay, so I drop my tags and go and says, well, then you would be breaking nap. Would I? I'm no longer in alliance. I'm no longer in the top 20. I can hit anybody I want to. There's always a lawyering to rules. And that's why you set a standard and not rules. Rules are meant to be broken. Always a way to look around it. When you set a standard, then the community's saying, I just don't want to see this here. And, because frankly, not enough people hit the mute button. The people in KC should come on there and hear nothing but silence, because no one can see a word they say. But that doesn't happen.
In your defense, one of the people arguing against you thought top 20 nat meant you had to be over a C20.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You couldn't hear Koji earlier. Yeah, the guy was like, yeah, I was like, you're literally voting yourself to be farmed. I didn't understand. I was like, I know that. But that's why we don't go back in a room and have you discuss something you don't know a damn thing about. It's all well and good to think you're going to have power over your well-being via vote. But there are experts at conning you in this game, to where you're going to spend $100 here, $100 there maybe, and they're going to turn around and steal it. That's their goal in life. And I have a public face. You know where I'm at. You know what I'm doing. And so at the end of the day, I'm just trying to turn around and say, okay, I've decided I don't like the standard that doesn't exist, so I'm just going to create one. And even that guy was turning around going, well, any discussion starts with 2 people who get in a room. I said, okay, then what's wrong with my room? What's wrong with my room where 1,000 people from the kingdom can come and read what was said? They don't have to sign up. What's wrong with that? And I would like to see that in all 533 kingdoms. Doesn't exist. Oh yeah, freaking creep damn near falls off his chair at some point in the night.
What do you think their biggest problem with having a forum for this is?
It's a record. You can't wiggle around your words at that point. There's no excuse for 144 characters. You can explain yourself with a book if you want to. You can put pictures. You can put links to videos. You can back up everything you say with evidence in that form. The problem is that crew knows that I have that evidence. Oh, hey, we can do that. You guys are new to what we're talking about there. I'm going to show some pictures here. I have an icon on my desktop called Miller Problems. There we go. Now, Koji has like 1,000 screenshots every time they outed themselves. Let's see, which one was the year of this lack of desire? Due to the lack of players, troops, RSS, and interest in promotions, kingdom growth by weakening smaller alliances, HEH will not be attending KVK. What this guy was saying was, because we wouldn't let him kill people when they were hurt after KVK, his alliance refused to be in KVK. We won that KVK. You take your toys and go home. We don't care. It really is that simple. You know, there's a creep. Okay, whatever. You're threatening us with nothing. And they're bluffs. And you got to realize they're bluffs. And I know I get it, but I've been watching the same people pull the same crap over and over and over again. What was the GunMuse motto? Oh. Yeah. See, Rogers Raiders. I mean, there's just trash talking. You know, he's famous in a different way, but not for a good thing. I mean, there's people who love negative attention. Then they wanted to talk on Line. Remember Line? Here's Line, guys. Go to that kingdom and make sure everybody knows it's going to fail and make sure they all know it's Muse's fault. That's what they use Line for. You can't see this. Unfortunately for them, I'm 180 times bigger now than I was then. There's going to be somebody they talk to that's going to snitch on them. Just the way it works. And confessions. That's my favorite. Miller had been successfully hiding himself for 6 months. And then I was playing this verbal banter that like I do in KC to where I get him all wound up. And then he goes, that's why he's doing this. So funny. We did this to him in 312. They think they ran somebody out. I had 3 castles, my main and 2 things. And I was using them to make the wolf calculator. Guys, you want to know why it takes so long to make calculators? I have to deal with douchebags like this. It took me an extra 2 months to make that calculator because they would come in there and zero my alliance simply because I wouldn't join theirs. So I wound up getting rid of all the alliance except my 2 farms because they couldn't zero my castle.
312 was your first run-in with your best friend Miller?
Yeah, man, Miller's funny, man. Miller's fun to talk to, but he's broken. He's
broken.
It's here's the thing: if he's in your alliance, one, behind the scenes, he's disgusting with women, to the point that he will run women out of your alliance and you won't even know why it's happening. And so that was one of the problems I had with that. Today, when you saw that guy say no Muse no, looky here, guy. This is from a year ago. No trick no. No trick no was a famous saying I said in 312 where I named a castle No Trick No because he was blustering about burning me. And all I did was I named a little farm No Trick No because he was burning it every day. And that's where that no Muse no was coming from. They just out themselves. So there's no doubt that the trolls are here and they're here in force. And then Miller runs like 8 accounts at the same time and constantly changes names. And if you wanted to keep track of what Miller's doing, it's a full-time job to figure out where his power number is and what his gear is and what his gear off is from day to day to day. And I just don't care because there's nothing he can do other than run his mouth. And at the end of the day, I got a bigger megaphone than he does. There we go. Let's put that back up there.
Best comment of the day in KC. You're my hobby.
Oh, yeah. For those who missed that, they go, Muse, you need a hobby. And I was like, you are my hobby. Now, see, Nate can hear my voice say it. It's not like you're my hobby. It's like you are my hobby. This is what I'm doing for a hobby. I got nothing better to do right now. I don't walk very well. I can't stand very long on concrete or any of that stuff. So I kind of bound to the chair most of the day. That's why I keep a cane in the corner. It's not a catch-up thing. This is an emotional break where whatever's wrong in their life, they feel some type of release punishing someone else that's weaker than them. I mean, they could have been beating children for all I know. I had in the Navy a guy, a chief petty officer, that literally picked on people one at a time until they did what we call the yabba dabba discharge. They take 2 Flintstone vitamins and call it a suicide. And then they would get taken off the net, off the ship. And he come in. We were down to like 5 people left in the division at that time, from 16. He come in one night and started his crap with me, and I just stood up and said, Chief, those yabba dabba discharges are a dishonorable discharge. I guarantee you, if I get a dishonorable discharge, it means they found your body. Yeah. He's like, you threatened me? He says, I'm promising you, we're going to go that route long before I quit. And I never seen him on the O2 level ever again after dark. And he didn't, he was so cowardly about it. He would stick first class petty officers who had just come on board the ship after me. And none of these first class petty officers realized that I had been on the ship for 5 years. I was required personnel. You couldn't kick me off. I didn't have to pay attention to you. Officers usually found out pretty quick that I wasn't going to tolerate your bullshit. That it was much nicer to come in and ask me for something than it was to come in and tell me to do something that I didn't have time for. Because I was one of my jobs was like electrical safety. Like if you bring a razor on board the ship, you got to check it to see if it's electrical safety. It's a bullshit check to begin with. But they can't use it until I check it and sign off on it. And I get some mouthy little officer who says, I need you to have this check and have your tag on it. Says, I'll get to it later. Says, well, can't you do it right now? I said, I could, but I'm not gonna. And I had that kind of thing. Okay, the forum. Okay, so here we go. I've got a direct link to what is going to be that right there. Did I spell it right? I reverse my R and E all the time without knowing it. That right there is a direct link to that forum page. I love short linking. Short linking is awesome. When was the chief thing? 93? William Barr, Billy Blackpin. You're my hobby, right? That's right. The oh my gosh, man. Wevpo, how you doing, man? Evapo. Wapapo. I can't say that. And he's going to turn around and try and phonetically tell me, and I'll still mess it up.
I just tried to click that link for 45 seconds, and then I realized I was using the stylus from my Surface Pro on my iPad.
Will it not let you click on the link on the? Oh, I get what you mean.
They will if you use the right tools. This is why Creep thinks I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I will happily tell everybody about your website. Go out there and build a bunch of calculators. Spend 2 years building that stuff, and go do that for free like I did, and then you can turn around and tell me what I'm doing wrong or right. It's Julia. Make it simple. Julia, are you in our K533? I hate the delay. Man, guys, I wasn't going to go this long, but so freaking many people in here. You're all that bored or something? I don't have this many people on in game right now.
Yeah, it's been the charger issue for me, not the battery problem with the Surface Pro.
Or are you in the... You're going to be. Well, I'm happy to say, no matter if you show up a week late, there's this starter quest. So if you don't think you can play for, say, 4 days, where you can dedicate a few hours a day for 4 days, then wait just a little bit, and you can come to K533 and you'll get this starter quest where basically, guys, you get given an entire set of gear for free. You get all the gems. You get 3 Hope Gems for free. You'll be on Kata 4.5 of the first day. It takes me 4 hours to build an account. I know we have a waiting list for people getting into RRG. It's long. And I know I booted some players. It got down to where it was like, oh my gosh, people have only been logged off for a day. And we started booting people who'd been logged off more than 24 hours because I had so many other actives going in there. And because we were dealing with kingdom politics, we were dealing with that. Now, see, God of War is upsetting me because I don't know who that is. There's something weird going on with that one. I hadn't witnessed the 312 the chat room. I hadn't been in there 2 years. So all I see is when they're trying to hide in 362. S-Splice? I think I do. I'm terrible with names, no matter what. I can remember it now and not remember it 5 minutes later. It is so hot in this room. I'm boiling. Here and there, I'm getting a fever. Cannot reach up with my left arm. RN life. Man, I'll tell you, I got a video I got to do on the VA that I got to put up there because the VA, the hospital for veterans, is not seeing patients. They want to call everybody and count it as a legally required visit. Because Trump turned around and said, hey, we're going to do this video conferencing. It's going to be awesome. I'm pretty sure they didn't tell Trump that they were going to ignore all testing to go with it. It'd be fine if they called me to tell me my test results, but they're not going to take any tests. So basically, the VA became phone-a-buddy, and they want to be paid well for it. I have industrial coolers everywhere. I mean, all over the single place. We got an outdoor concrete patio for partying out there at the place down south. and I think we could put 75, 80 people out there on that patio, and not be crammed in there. We got a full bar, and I have one of those deep well beer coolers like you'd have in any professional restaurant. Most of the bars I've been to have a smaller version of a cooler I have. And then over in what was our old gun store, we got a 90-inch TV up on the wall. It's now our little hangout now. And we've got industrial coolers in there. And I got one in the house, but it's usually got diet sodas in there for my wife. The other C20. Oh. Why am I saying Bella? Who's the
Isn't
other?
Bella C23?
Is she now?
User disconnected from your channel.
Man, I want no roommates. Guys, I live out here in a bunker. I spend when my wife's gone for 4 days, you guys are the only people I talk to. And I honestly have to do that on a schedule or I wouldn't even talk to you guys. Clicks. Okay. Link is on the homepage. What link is on the homepage? Oh.
Pretty sure Pork's got his farm buried by somebody in our alliance today.
Bo, I just had 2 CTs within 2 weeks, and the guy that took the other one just the other day goes, well, you just had a CT 2 weeks ago. Why are you getting another one? I said, because frankly, we don't believe them. No kidding. Whatever image they sent over to the VA wasn't me. And I knew it by looking at the picture. I said, that's not my head. And they went, yeah, there's no way for you to know that. I said, okay, but we're going to reschedule that CT and come back, and it's like the vessels down in my brain are enlarged. And it's one of the reasons I quit doing KVKs on the weekends is it starts in, when you, I have to move around and get active in order to think and to plan ahead. And when I do that, it stresses me out, gets a headache. And so I just don't do that no more. But I got like Koji and freaking Creep, and actually over in K533, Travel King and Butters, and there is all these people that were my R4s over in K533 that are as good as anybody in the game in their own rights now. They're pro players at this point. They're just awesome. I'm very proud of where they got to. I'm very proud that they're at the top. And they're getting to the point where they're bold. I remember when they were all timid players. I love having bold players. With stats in the new gear. Okay, so you can't mix and match some of the stats with. You got to be careful about what you upgrade on the new gear. Yeah. Pay attention before you hit the up button because you'll lose your old one. That's what it comes down to. You do. You need the full sets. Guys, what they're doing right now is a reboot. Excuse me. They're doing a reboot. They let the stats get so staggeringly out of control. They're making it very easy to equalize without acting like they're giving everything away. But like in the New Kingdom, when you reach C20, a pop-up will pop up that says for $19 a month, you can get daily delivery of COA fragments. So for $20, you can get what is basically $220 worth of frags for the top of the line coat of arms in the game. So they're re-equalizing the game a little bit. And I would also imagine that has something to do with the fact that The stat curve for GOG looks like this. It's going down, 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 down. So the ability to pool up KVKs with this, they had so many people that were instantly getting 7,000 stats and they were not spending money. And the people who should pay attention were not paying attention. They outsourced reporting to a third-party company that wasn't sending the information back, and nobody was taking it serious. And at the end of the day, they were running a damn. If these people were selling, if these people were actually buying, then they were running a little digital slave trade. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good deal. There's no better deal right now for stats than that. And the other good deal was like I bought Sky Iron, but I don't have it on my Airship just yet. Doesn't do you any good. So you would think like we had Airship Expedition yesterday. Sky Iron won't help you. You've got to get to like level 15 or something like that before those things start engaging. So you got to do all that little dirty work on your Airship before you get up high enough that the Sky Iron will even come into effect. So you can't buy your way to the top of expeditions just by spending money. You can buy stats for your Airship to whip somebody's ass. And I have them sitting there. They're ready to go if I need them. But I prefer not to do it. I'd rather sit there and go to 0 because I know I'm going to get 600% free stats from whatever event comes up. I don't know why I would, who cares about 100,000 Lobby troops? I already know that I'm going to spend $1,500, $2,000 on speed ups to build troops in 533 at some point. Because they were today trying to like, well, who's going to have the crown rotation? Well, whoever has it first, and here's something everybody needs to know because this is going to come up again. The first guy gets screwed because there's no coins. There's nothing to run. You start generating them immediately, but the first king can screw the second king over really bad. Okay. And I talked about it a little today when we were talking about dealing with the Maya problem, and the answer to this might be, I'm just going to literally dictate that my cooperation is dependent on me taking the first 2 rotations, and not just to be king, because anybody with 362 with me knows I gave away every crown rotation I ever had. But I want to, from the beginning, set a standard to what a king should do, what timers should be like, how they should be done, and I just want to demonstrate a good example. And then after that, I don't give a damn who the king is. At the end of the day, we're going to be shooting forward on our alliance research, and we will be the alliance that everybody's going to have to come to and run KVK if we stand a chance, because we'll have damage stats when no one else will. It always worked out that way.
Which is what makes it hilarious that everybody always wants to go to a neutral alliance or start a VK alliance.
Yeah, let's give up all them damage numbers we worked so hard to get so that we can have. And then it's never neutral. Somebody controls that alliance. It's stupid.
There's no such thing as neutral, and you give up all your tech.
And at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if we turn around and say, okay, Kingdom X or Alliance XXX gets to pick the king, okay, and I go to the R5 leader in XXX, I say, okay, who's going to be the king? And they go, well, Bob over here is going to be the king. I'll say, okay, so Bob's going to come into the alliance that day for KVK. We're going to promote him to R4 because he has to be R4 to become king. And if he's going to be king, supposedly he's going to have some strategy skills to be an R4 to begin with. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to turn him into the king when we're done with the KVKs. Because I'm publicly out there, I'm not going to screw anybody over. It would be detrimental to me at all times.
Connection lost.
I learned a long, long time ago, you'll upset 20, 30% of the people by telling the truth. don't let that crap sweat you. Just keep telling the truth and doing the right thing, and the crowd will follow you everywhere you want to go. Yeah, that's worked. I've worked that way for 30 years. When I was selling that big stack of money in my drawer there, guys, I made a ton of money selling over and under shotguns. And the way to sell a $40,000 shotgun is not try to bullshit somebody. At the end of the day, they want it because they want it. They wanted it before you ever talked to them. They just want to feel good about the fact they bought it. Yeah, Muffin's the one that I was talking about that has information way earlier than everybody else. Also has like a 7,000 stat castle. So I think Guns of Glory finally implemented an influencer program and made sure they gave it to a Chinese person. Which doesn't surprise me with the way they act. Wish they'd give me an unlimited account. Man, did that finally post? Hold on, I'm going to put up a screen. Something weird going on with YouTube there, Greg, because I had comments from 6 months ago just come flooding in. And then I uploaded a gate video that's been processing for 24 hours. I was about to delete it and re-upload it because I think something screwed up. Nope, finally posted. Okay. So, probably because I've had this screen open for so long, it finally processed. Hold on, I got to do a end screen. Yeah, all kinds of bugs went away. I had all kinds of bugs earlier today. Yeah. I want to see a list of my most recent 50 videos. Dink. There. I'm gonna do the last 5 in case something else went buggy. Continue. Start copying. Okie doke. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta click yes, I guess. Heaven forbid I don't click yes that I want to do what I said I told it to do. All right. Okay. My personal, and this is personal thing, this is one of these things where I'm not going to vote on it. I'm just going to do it. If you earned that wonder, and I know it was your wonder, like we got one guy named Salts who went out and got his airship first, got the wonder, and somebody come in and stole it. And then they floated the castle so he couldn't get it back. I promise you Salt's getting that wonders back. I don't know the guy. I don't care. He earned that wonder. To steal it from him that early because you went and spent a little bit of money, he spent his money on Airship, and then he was too weak to defend himself. They stole it, swapped it off to a farm, floated the farm.
The wonders are like my precious from Lord of the Rings. Like everybody wants them all the time, and they'll do anything to get them, and then they realize they're not that great.
They're not that great, and everybody knows where you're at. I would never want a wonder. But we had a great idea for all the, we drifted off on the viewer count here, but we're still kind of high. We had a great idea. We were talking in KC yesterday about there being a wonder where when you had that wonder, no matter who hit you in the kingdom, none of your troops were lost. It was like playing UAC, but they could steal that wonder, and And basically, it was an in-kingdom constant game of tag. It didn't affect anything else. It didn't, but if you had that wonder, you couldn't bubble. But it was a game of chase. that would be in the thing. I thought it was a good idea, and
At least it would be fun, if nothing else.
it could be. It might be one of those things where it's a pain in the butt, and maybe they need to put an eject button on it. It's like, okay, I got the Wonder now, but I don't want it. Float it up and let somebody declare they want it or some crap. It would just be funny for Guns of Glory. It's creating a Wonder with a special skill to it, and the result winds up being people buying teleports, and and or using certain guys for stat checking, and it bouncing around so much that you're chasing somebody. And I think it should be that the guy who attacks them don't lose troops, nor does the guy who has the Wonder, so that it just becomes this immunity bubble for attack and defense for the Wonders. Where it gets scary is if you lose the Wonder while other marches are coming in.
Well, I know Creeps got ports. The second Maya came to Hive today, he was out of there quicker than anything.
Oh, like me burning gold. I burned like 8,000 gold on her the other day. But don't worry, I got a couple.
I think he randomed out.
Did he?
He randomed out and then called me and you to tell us we were about to get burned.
Oh, she had the towel hit me. I could zero her tomorrow, but I don't want to give up those stats. I'd rather just be zeroed than do that. Troy, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. Guys, I'm actually going to leave this on a high note because I'm so glad to have you guys come out there, but I don't want to go in long sessions, and I've had a headache all stinking day right behind my right eye. I just wanted to put out there some conversation on this stuff so that people had something to link to and check out. That other video drop, I got a little R4, R5 organization for an upcoming UW gate so that people know what to expect. It's not about hitting the gate. It's not about formations. It's just a little 18-minute deal about understanding how the open button works. I hate the fact that open button is there. It converts to open. You have to click open in order to deposit a key. But if there's all keys in it and an R4 clicks it, they wind up not understanding what they're looking at sometimes, and they wind up summoning a boss. Yeah, there's a misnomer on that. You get the top stats, the show stats. There's some mixing matching I've done in the past. I don't even remember what the combo was. I had 2 Sun King, 2 Ret, and 2 DH pieces of gear, and I would hide underneath someone else's Mega, and you just damn near couldn't kill me. I will have to look it up again. I was stockpiling the damage reductions, but to be fair, at that time, not as many people use the calculator as they do now. That number is insane. It's 5,400 people per day actually use a calculator on the website. Just those pages. And then that's about all they come there for. They don't want to. Some people read the articles, but not many. They read the articles when I tie them in with the videos, and we're getting there slowly. It takes a long time. Yeah. Well, guys, we are going to get it to where you can call in to the show. That's coming. I have all this phone tech. I could have bought a new Cobra. I was thinking about buying a Cobra kit car for about $40,000. I could have bought a 429 Cobra jet for the price of what I spent on freaking texting stuff. But then I don't.
You're welcome, Muse fans.
Yeah, no shit. My caddy's still even fixed. I think it's been almost a year now. I hadn't finished fixing my caddy. I got a caddy that does 191 miles an hour. I got a CTSV with a modified transmission in it, custom gearing, little performance boost under the hood.
You got a Kia that does 65. It's real nice.
You know the old Volkswagen vans never had a 0 to 60 number in the brochure. You know why?
Why is that?
They literally could not hit 60 in testing.
3 miles down the road.
The top speed of those vans back in the day was 58 miles an hour. When they went to go test them to figure out what their 0 to 60 official 0 to 60 speed was, they couldn't hit 60. It's
because everybody in that van was high off their gourd.
We got a Karma Gia. My wife's got a convertible Karma Gia with an auto stick, and we stuck a 200 horsepower motor down in the back of that damn thing. That car is like 1,100 pounds, freaking, after it's gone through the car wash, and 200 horses in that thing. It's faster than my motorcycle. But I don't do a lot of racing anymore. I actually, because of my health, I lost my pro license last year. That's why I haven't been worried about fixing my caddy. I had a pro racing license, and I'm not allowed to use it no more until I pass a freaking physical.
The easier question is, what do you have?
What? For what?
Gun expert, racer, pro gamer.
And I grew up on a skydive drop zone. I was an adrenaline junkie. That's all there is. It's just you're not. I went to a school that was a Mennonite school. Mennonites don't go to high school; they don't go to college. But the school was gear orientated towards a college degree by the time you're 13. So when I went to high school, because I wasn't a Mennonite, I was bored off my ass. I'd already done it, learned it. And so during my teenage years, I had 17 cars in high school. And not because I bought 17 different cars, it's because I would buy a car and burn it up. You'll be on the voice soon. The TeamSpeak's limited. I think we got like a 8. This is Creep's little personal 8-person thing. I have a server. I can do a big TeamSpeak, and I just hadn't gotten back to it. I was doing it the other night, and I lost track of what I was doing. Well, I think the stats kind of prove out that they enjoy it more when more people are in here than just me. I'd love to get the trolls, the people who've been trolling me for 2 years. I'd put them in there. I'd let them have all the voices.
Like Jerry Springer.
Man, I am never afraid to let those guys speak. Just go right ahead. Oh yeah, it would probably be an outstanding thing. But when I read PR News Now, I'd let the left freaking post all the crazy ass articles they want. It says, why don't you take that crap down? I'm like, because then you wouldn't know that they say that stuff for real. And the guy goes, honestly, that's why you leave it up there? I said, yep. If I took down every crazy ass article or thing they posted up, you'd never believe they say that crap that comes out of their mouth. Yeah.
I just realized you got a giant bottle of Maker's Mark on you, and now I'm distracted.
It's almost empty. Yeah, it's from a couple weeks ago. I was pretty we did that 8.5 hour live, and I was pretty drunk by the time that was over.
You guys were absolutely slurring your words everywhere.
And
I thought so you were just going to pass out on cam.
I was like, well, we go, and I told us, like, if I pass out on cam, we go to I actually just don't get that drunk. I slur my words when I hear a slur and an S in my right now while I'm sober. But that's,
no, it was way worse the other day.
Well, I mean, but now is neurological. I can hear it because it's not normal. I can hear myself do it because it's not normal. this crap here. I went to the eye doctor for the VA 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 weeks ago. They stabbed me in the eye. 4 weeks later, in the mail, I get eye drops and omega-3 pills 4 weeks later. That's your socialized medical system right there, guys. Never mind the fact that I ran around here for about a week going, man, my eye itches, my eye itches. And ever since then, you guys have seen me with my glasses on because they're trying to fix my eyes and they've done nothing but make them worse. I actually can't see the screen that's 18 inches in front of me now because they're helping me over at the doctor.
Crazy how big your fan base is here. I'm looking through the chat. I see some of the 353 gang, Wonky, Godfather. You got people from all over the place.
Chief checking in. Chief's the name of my dog. But I'm sick. My mom just went in the hospital yesterday. My dad can't go see her. We can't go see her because of the COVID thing. Can't even visit her. And then we go out to my wife went and cooked up a casserole and stuff to take out to my dad. And God, he didn't call and tell me that his dog died. I mean, this dog went everywhere. There's like 6,000 people that know the name of this dog. Didn't tell you, so he's sitting in the house by himself. Best friend's dead and his wife's in a freaking hospital and he can't visit her. Like, oh, it was like crap. We're waiting for the test results to come back, and if they're good, I think tomorrow I'm going to go see if Dad wants to go out and hang out on the lake if the wind's down. I was wanting to do it today, but the migraine, I can't go out in the sunlight when I got a migraine. Just can't do it. It'll knock me down for a couple days. Honey Badger, my gosh, I haven't talked to you in the GunMuse room forever. Come to 533, Honey Badger. You old farts, I'm telling you, for what you're paying to maintain your account, you can start over fresh and have a ball. The fun's back in the game again. I was doing this for business purposes, but the fun's back in there, and this time I'm approaching the trolls differently than the stalkers differently than I have in the past. I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna out them early. I'm not gonna tolerate it, and I'm just at some point. Those who don't pay attention to what I say are gonna find it like, why is Muse burning them every single day? Because I'm just not gonna deal with it that way no more. I'm just tired of them. It's been years.
It's just fun too. We were talking about it. It's just fun to start. When was the last time, aside from your farm, that you started over? You got to look at the game in a new way. There's some new stuff. There's stuff I don't even remember doing so long ago.
Yeah, when you go, woohoo! I got 3 marches now. Whoa, all right.
I did that this morning. When was the last time you got to get excited? You had 3 marches.
Yeah, I had a Glenn. I was on the USS Ogden, and then while I was on the Ogden, I was attached to the 22nd MU, the Marine Force Expeditionary Unit, because we were dealing with SEAL Team 3, SEAL Team 5. I built the Joint Operational and Tactical Systems. Back in the day, that long before there were movies, with dots on the screen. We see the dots running across the screen for the Special Forces team. I helped invent the dots. That's what I was doing for the military at the time, and that's because the Navy didn't have a computer tech back then. The rate didn't even exist, and they had these rules where you couldn't force people to do things they felt were dangerous. Bill Clinton had become president. So you couldn't strap a whiny little kid to the bottom of a helicopter and if he thought that he might die. And me, I was an adrenaline junkie, plus I was smart, plus I knew computers. So, you couldn't stop me from jumping out of a helicopter. So I had a ball in the military. I loved I spent 5 years in combat. I loved most of it. There's days, but most of the time it's just funny. It's there's humor there that nowadays people can't take a joke. They don't understand what a joke is. Like, you watch these like I said, we saw those trolls in KC where they're just mocking, like, they in their world think that's hurtful. For a guy like me, like, what is that supposed to be? You know, it's like the most hurtful thing you can think of might make me laugh. They don't get that. They live in a cocoon, man. They need safe spaces.
It's funny to watch them tell you that this is your life, and really that's what it is for them. Like, they stalk you kingdom to kingdom. They sit in there and talk crap all day long. Like, this is their sad life.
Oh yeah, and I'm the one that doesn't have one. Remember, I
and that's their comeback every time. Get a life.
Yeah, get a life. I'm like, what,
get a hobby.
You've been stalking me for 2 years.
Yeah, but then you mute them and you can't see what they say, but we can. And then it's like a puppy without a bone. They don't know what to do anymore.
Oh yeah, that's it. And I did. I got nowhere to mute them. I really think other people should too. And not just for your sanity of seeing that kind of crap, but honestly, there's an instability there that I don't think it is proper or safe for me to feed for my personal enjoyment. I could fart with Miller all day long, every day, for my own pleasure, just twisting him into a little bunch.
Yeah, you're a better man than I am.
But it would be sadistic. It really would. And I learned a long time ago, that whole crew, I was smarter than that whole crew. There's nothing for me to gain by engaging them in that way. There's some of them, they're smart. Don't get me wrong, but they're broken. If you're chasing
not
me,
even a little piece of you wants to see them cry.
Yeah, well, I've already done that. They look at what they're doing. They keep saying they're running me out of the kingdom, but you don't know where I'm going. So you want to go to their argument? Let's endorse their argument. Everybody who listens to them is trying to destroy the kingdom because that's their goal. That's literally their argument for being there. They keep telling everybody they've won everywhere they win. I enjoy playing the game, whether they're there or not, because 99 times out of 100, I've gone months without looking at KC chat. I have no clue what the kingdom's doing. And I do believe that was one of my failings in 362, was I let that crew get too far out on the edge for too long. Yeah.
If I had a therapist, would tell me to stay off of KC.
Oh, yeah, my gosh. Christopher, vets do not like the word thank you. Thank you is how you end the conversation. It's not how you start one. But I understand your sentiments. People don't think about that when they turn around and they say thank you to a vet. It's a way of walking up and saying, I don't want to talk to you, so thank you. It's in society, thank you is how you end a conversation. It's not how you start one. You guys can tell I get in. I do a lot of vet politics, so I have to teach that to the kids. I'm like, when they're turning around telling you thank you, understand what they're telling you, and that is, especially when the politicians. And we get to where I train them to do that because the politicians do it all the time. It's a way of shutting you up. Thank you, and their head starts moving immediately because you couple the word thank you with body language, and everybody knows the conversation is done. And we can't allow that in certain instances. Man, I only get one check a month now. Yeah, I don't. Well, the thank you campaign was started by the Clintons. It was a way of addressing the fact that, for those who don't know, Bill Clinton went around and sold all the VA hospitals and said, we're going to build new ones. But we're going to sell these to all my buddies first who need some prime real estate. And then they held an in the middle of the night auction and all the buildings got sold. 13-story high rises got sold for $1. The ones that were only 2 years old in Florida. But they sold all the VA hospitals off around the world because they're going to get new buildings. And what they really wound up doing was buying leases from their buddies who own buildings in whatever town the VA is supposed to be operating in. And then I've got some videos that are uploaded where you're going to hear their hour-longs from the VA speaking to us. And you're going to hear that they're constantly bragging about building new buildings. Meanwhile, you're going to hear vets turn around and say, but we haven't had a doctor in 9 years. So you got $30 million for a new building, but you can't buy the doctor for the building that we have now. Or they went off into this big rant about how they're going to have this all-woman waiting room for female vets. And my wife's like rolling her eyes. My wife's done more time in combat than I have now. She just did her 6th combat tour. She's now passed me by 1 year. This COVID thing's driving her nuts. She can't sit still. That's one of the problems with most people in the military. You can't sit still this long. Me, I got kind of a sniper's mentality. I can sit here all freaking day. Doesn't bother me. Even when I was in the Navy, I had a room, my radar room to myself. Sitting there listening to music. The problem with filming that bugs me is I can't play the music while I do it. If I play the music, I'd be fine all day long. She's a reservist. She's a CB. CBs don't have active units anymore. So the way they restructured that is every time they need a CB unit, they have 3 reservist CB units, and she's required to go active for a year every 3 years. She just did a year in Africa. She was a lead petty officer for the new specialized interrogation center we're building in Africa. Which there was one of those when I was in the military. But it was a steel box at the end of the freaking runway is what it was back then. Now it's an official building.
I love that you were going to get off 25 minutes ago, and here we are still talking about vets and Republicans.
Is the power stuff to open the gates. Oh, so that determines what level of what I can open? Is what that number? I've never paid attention to that before. Keys is stupid at this point. Just put it on a freaking timer. For God's sakes, put some bigger bosses in there so that we can run full marches at it all the time. And if we want to start by jumping to boss number 20, they should let us do that.
When was the last time you didn't have enough keys to open the gate until you restarted a new account?
Oh, that's never happened. And since the last time I had a brand new account. Usually within
I'm used to having hundreds. I have none.
Right. Yeah, that's just the way it works. Because right now we're all killing thralls. We're not killing the freaking beast. Nobody's killing beasts, so there's no keys dropping. I get it. So it is what it is. Required keys to open the gate. Active Guard Reserve, Army Reserve, man. My gosh. Yeah, they, after Bill Clinton got in office, they changed the reserve rules, and they love pulling up reserves to do what active duty people should be doing because it disrupts employment and townships, and by deploying the reserves more often than they're supposed to be deployed, it gives this constant local community that our boys are all overseas. And then you go, well, there's 3 million active duty personnel, but we only have about 150,000 in combat. Okay, there's 3 million active duty personnel, but only 150,000 in combat. Why did you need to send 70,000 of them as reservists? And the point is to cause pain in the community. Most people join the reserves for the college plan. you have a cult following. Do you have a channel, Glenn? Well, you don't show up with us having icons or a channel. What cult?
He's just a Pied Piper.
Do you know Glenn Levitt?
No, I thought it was as weird as you did. I'm trying to figure out why he has so many people follow him.
Yeah. That's fine. We can do that. Right now, I have the 218 game is text only. I have the ability so that when you phone call that, it'll kick you in. What I don't have the capability of is controlling lots and lots of phone calls. So it's one of those things where if you text me your phone number, I can call you back and put you into the live. But that's about where I'm at right now with the technology I got. CV Nuts of Glory. Am I in that room? What does CV stand for? What am I missing there?
I think that's the C word without the U.
Oh, I get it now. I was taking it too literally. Glenn, are you one of my stalkers from 312? I promise you, there's I'm terrible about looking at my own freaking math.
Glenn's the honey badger.
The honey badger, that's right. Well, he's been around a while. Hold on. Let me go Rogers Raiders. I don't even know what my numbers are now. Let's see what my weekly update here is. Holy crap, though. Get this up here. Move this over here. Well, they gave me this brand new user interface, and it has fewer features to it. So if I go to forums, look on the right-hand side, there's a little tattletale down there that tells you how many people are signed up for the website. Wow, we broke 19,000 this week. So I got over 19,000. I can start using the word 19,000 when I talk about how many people have signed up over here. So, that's cool. Not a call to arms, but a call to information. Recent topics. Let's see what this is. I didn't start that one. Oh. Well, that's... Hold on. Man, I've had some weird view in my new templates that I built. So Juggernaut put a freaking deal on my website. I need to get off my ass. I'm actually going to put him in the YouTube Gurus. I like the way he explains things. For those people who are looking for a... yeah, I'm going to hide that, Glenn, just because I don't want YouTube going after me on that one. I think Juggernaut does a good job of doing the direct explanation thing. He's going to get better. I think he's one of these people who's going to get better with time. Like Muffin has really, I can't. She's boring, but she's informative.
Honey Badger should bring his cult following to 533.
Yeah, bring the whole cult following. Bring everybody to 533, man. Start a new castle.
All the CUNTS of glory.
Yep. The GunMuse K533. I think LOE was one of my stickers. Yep, castle giveaways next week. Anybody who is a platinum member, there's a join button down underneath any of my videos. If you are a platinum member during this end of this month, I am giving away a castle in K533 that has Splendor on it, the $99 gear, and the castle's not slacker anyway. It won't take long for you to be competitive in that kingdom. I might get to the point where I give away my C40 there. I don't know. I am having a ball in the new kingdom. This had become work to some point because it's important work to get done. But this has been funny. I've been entertained. I still got work I got to do. I mean, I had to build 2 farms today, and I got one for free already, so that's good. So I have 3 farms working in K533 now. So by the end of the month, I'll have my 10 farms up by the end of the month. I'll be on Cat 8 and all my 10 of my farms, and even if I got to throw money at it, yeah, every day. My account. I do dailies. Right now, I'm farming up badges for I'm at C39, but I've got 9 or 8 days before my walls are done cooking. But I need more badges to throw everything else up, and I don't like this build event. I want one of the big build events, so I'm saving everything for a big build event. I'll go do a big build event when it's ready. So I'm in no hurry. But there's no need to throw money at something to entertain. Right, I'm entertained with 362. I hadn't left. I just hadn't been in a hurry. I got more, like I said, I got more patience than most people do. You got to kick go to floor 4, and freaking hit the damn plunder button twice a day on floor 4 and get crap loads of crests off floor 4. Up your catacomb bag space and up your catacomb satchel capacity so that you actually get crests to drop. Crests are worth more than gear. And then once you get 2 defensive crests to +5, then you can zoom forward. You just go launching right to GunMuse K533. Glenn. I would imagine if you just search GunMuse K, you'll find me. You type in GunMuse, you're probably going to find a bunch of troll accounts too.
40 millers.
40. Oh. I'm telling you, it's like endless. It's at one point he was just putting foul language on castles, and he had like 100 castles surrounding our alliance. I mean that's the level that we hadn't gotten to that level yet, but it's coming. He'll think he'll think a whole new audience will think he's clever. Yeah, for all you people who are about to PM me to be your friend, I'm going to hit no. We did the live the other night for the New Kingdom. I had over 600 friend requests after that. The answer is no. I don't want to see it. I don't like the interface. I don't like the stuff. If you want to actually ask me something in private, go to the website, sign up, and PM me at GunMuse. That's truly private. Anything in game, Fun Plus can read. I don't want them reading what I'm doing. I don't want them to know what I'm going to do next. I believe they're building YouTubers to compete against me, so as far as I'm concerned, they're now business enemies. Instead of me helping promote their game, I'm in competition for the audience. So,
Creep, on the other hand, does want to be all of your friends, so send him all of your invites.
Yep, Hell Creep and 533 there, guys. Send him 9 million invites tomorrow. He's gonna be
Make him feel real special.
The Maya we've been talking about, spelled Maya. I'm sure she would love some love.
He, she.
He, she, whoever it is. They did that to that he, she in freaking I think it was a he in freaking 410 too. Those of you who remember the K410 videos, I did like 3 and I stopped because the traffic on the drama was insane, and I honestly did not want that traffic around my website at that point. I had no way to control that kind of drama. As you see on the website, I got all kinds of new stuff going on over there. I can control drama a little bit. And
We made a he, she, king, queen in 353.
Had a he, she, king, queen.
It was awful. Name was May May. We found out his actual name was Matt, so we called him Matt, and then he left the game when we found out.
See, that's
when people thought it was a girl, they were literally giving her castles.
Exactly, and that's why right now on the YouTube statistics, 7% of my audience is female. 7%. In K533, what I'd say 30-40% of the castles got a female picture on it. All waiting to see if somebody's going to spend and give a castle away. Because they've all seen it before. They're going to a new kingdom to see who's going to say, oh, well. And I got a free castle today. But I actually got it from a woman.
You almost didn't.
I almost didn't. Yeah, well, I forgot to even ask. I never think to ask for a castle. It
happened so fast. She came on and quit and left.
Yeah, Hook creep up on both his accounts. Man, don't bother him in 362 because that's he actually has a lot of work to do there all the time. Yeah.
I quit playing 9 months ago, Top. I came back a week ago, and K33 is the best place. Like, start over, come back, play, have fun, relax, don't spend. You'll have a good time.
From about September till 3 weeks ago, my migraines were so bad everybody thought they'd run me off or quit or whatever. That I quit the game, and I just couldn't. I couldn't be in this room with the lights on. I got to have the lights on in order to run the cameras, and these are good lights. These don't. It's brighter than sunlight in this room, and these lights don't bother me like sunlight does or fluorescence. Oh my God, fluorescence will send me through orbit. Yeah. And then they stabbed me in my left. When they stabbed me in my left eye, that one was 4 weeks ago. Now I'm having lightning flashes in my eyes like I'm having seizures. So, but the lightning flashes got worse when they stabbed me the second time. So I know it's not seizures. I know it's something related to whatever the hell they're doing to my eye. But I'm getting these, what looks like light. Look, have you ever seen lightning go flash across the horizon? I see that in my left eye all the time now.
I'm surprised you can find any unnatural lighting that doesn't give you headaches. Like, all my old concussions come back. Like, it's the unnatural light that hurts, not the sunlight.
6K LED 1x1 panels, or 2x2 panels that are 2 foot by 2 foot drop-in ceiling panels. But you need to look for the 6K light, because the 5K light is a little yellowish, and that'll cause you some irritation. And out in sunlight, actually, I don't even have my glasses over here. These are just some cheap glasses. Out in sunlight, I got Bahama Gems. Bahama Gem sunglasses is one of the only lights that blocks blues and yellows. And so it's a pain in the ass. Like, if you got your sunglasses on, you can't read your phone screen. It'll look like a rainbow at you when you're reading your phone screen. But they block blues and yellows. And when you block the blues and yellows, then that really helps a ton with the lens. And I've had in the past green lenses because that blocking green with a green lens, you're blocking blue and yellow. Bahama Jim again was the only ones who made those way back when, but you can't even get those no more. They make a green lens set of glasses, but they're only in reading glasses like these. And I just can't bring myself. These are $4, and the Bahama Jims are $190, and I just can't. 5Ks look yellow to me compared to 6K lights. Yeah, but they look yellowish to me. But if you go to a 6K light, nice white light, it's awesome. And it doesn't seem to give me headaches. You cannot pick up a 6K light down at Home Depot. But you can go get one on Amazon, and they're like 1/3 the price. So like for $30, you can get a 2x2 LED light. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 17 LED panels in this room. It's 600 square feet. There's no shadow under my hands. There's that much light coming from every direction. And my electric bill in here, $30 a month, even with this cooler. These big computers. I got servers over there running all kinds of games. And I'm still $30 a month. I spent a good year rewiring, redesigning, and reshaping things. Yeah, the 5K is easy to find. No, I've had this in here for 2 years. 6K lights are. Go look them up on eBay. 6K 2x2s. Or not eBay, Amazon. Now you're going to make me do it. Like I said, I was going. I'll tell you why I'm going to do it. Because I can freaking. If you guys have got secretaries or office workers, man, 6K lights will stop the 2 o'clock headaches. I promise you. And if you got workspace where you got to work on a bench, you can set those things out where they're 2 feet apart above your workbench, and there's enough of this pyramid type shape, you get no shadow under your hands. So for somebody like me who's got eye problems on top of it, I can actually see small stuff. And I got away with that for years. $4Ks, 5,500Ks, 5Ks, 4Ks, 5Ks. I may have to go through my old buy thing. Almost everybody sells a 5K. Because they're common. You get them made in China, you just order them, put them in there. 200 for 2x2s. What you don't want is the ones when they light up, it looks like you can see the LED strips in them. Those are crap. And I've had them. Okay, I'm typing in 6K. How about I type in 6,000K and see if I can hit this keyword better. Oh, look at that. There we go. Now it's a common search. So I'm not the only one that looks for them. 5,000Ks, 4,000s.
Come to K533 where we'll teach you all about light bulbs.
Hey man, that's facts of life shit. Well, there's no reason to know this stuff. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, this is not the one I'm talking about. You know what I mean by a drop panel. Matter of fact, now that I see this one, I'm going to buy this for my laundry room. So copy. I'm going to paste this in the live chat, guys. There we go. And then I'm pasting that one because actually I do need one of those for my laundry room. And see, and I used to buy these 6K ones in 4-packs. But they were hard to get a hold of. The reason I don't have, I need like another row of them in here. And then I need to put them on the computer so I can turn them on or off above me and below me, sides, and change the freaking lighting in the room. I don't see. I really can't find what I'm talking about now, but I promise you they exist. And it may just be can't get rare. It was rare to find them anyway, and it may be just rare crap out of China. Good luck. Watt edge lit. Those edge lit. Hold on. See, these are edge lights. And I can go in and go text, copy. Here's the beauty of these kind of lights, guys. If you wanted to convert your house to solar or wind at some point, these lights are DC powered. And if you went to actually running DC power, they're stupidly efficient. They suck up electricity because you got converters on the back of them. Yeah, Tesla created a light bulb. Yeah, the theory is Tesla created everything, right? Yeah, well, he didn't make no money off of it, did he? China. Man, all LEDs are made in China. That was the deal, right? They outsourced that crap almost immediately. But that 2x2 that I put in there, edge light LED panels for your ceiling, awesome light coverage. Just it. You can watch a big screen TV. If you have this argument in your house, and I know I do in mine, lights on or off while you're watching TV, I have side glare issues. These don't cause side glare. So you can leave the lights on in the living room and it doesn't bother me watching the TV with them on. Whereas any other time with any other type of light bulb from a lamp, it's a pain in the ass. I got to turn the lamp off. Well, I hate to tell you, Rochambeau, DC electricity has existed for millions of years. It would have had to have been discovered. And yes, the argument between Edison and Watts, it was an argument between Edison and Watts, not freaking Tesla, over whether we were going to use DC or AC in the American grid. DC cannot be transmitted long distances, and that's why we don't use DC today. And until somebody creates, all the little tree huggers out there who love to listen to me and just disagree with most things, until somebody creates a DC power platform for your house so that the things you buy can be plugged into DC, you will never have solar and wind power plants outside your city that work. Just a fact of life, by the way. Had to move it to the PC. Send me to AC. I doing both, Kyle. Yeah, I started in the New Kingdom. Well, the plan was start the new kingdom to do the new graphics and update the content. I've got so much stuff that I can now tie into a video that I couldn't tie in before, to where I can bring more information. I can bring a smaller 10, 15-minute video in that used to take an hour and a half, but I can tie in the hour and a half video, and I can tie in the articles, and I can tie in the I couldn't do all that stuff a year and a half ago. I got more capabilities than I ever have. And then on top of that, I've got the texting systems, and I got the other stuff that reaches out and touches people in various ways to make sure they know that I'm doing stuff, and it all works out good. And then the goal at the end of the day would for me to be getting off the YouTube at some point, and because I got enough other influencers, and then I just come in and do guest chats with them or something. You know, I'd still be on the YouTube. I'd just be on their channel versus on mine. Oh, too many people ask me that. I don't have friends. I have friends from 40 years ago that I still call friends because I can trust them, and I don't think I've had friends since. I don't trust people. It's all there is to it. I've seen it. I bounty hunted for 2 years. I've met every kind of drug-infested liar there ever is on the planet. And what's funny is they'll all say the same thing the same way. I swear to God, methamphetamines rewrites the brain with a script. Stalkers with perks. My wife would ask, well, how much money's in it for me? We were talking about that earlier, Ark, and we were talking about when they were taking Trump out of context for the walk up and grab him on the P word.
Oh my Lord!
And it was because in context it was like, what would women around you do because you're a billionaire? And they cut all that part out and just made it sound like he was, oh, I do it all the time. And when I had people walking in the store at the time, I was like, what do you think about him saying that? And I was like, I had a woman try to walk in here last week and pay for her computer by flashing me her boobs. Freaking, that's $100. He's got billions. Don't act to me like women are freaking so sanctimonious in all levels of platforms, or don't do what he says they're doing. That man's a billionaire.
You can't just take sound bites and vilify people. If people took my life and played 5-second clips of everything I say, I'd be in prison.
Electric cars were first. First what? The first cars weren't electric cars. But there were electric cars in the 1800s. The first motorized steam vehicles, like from the the first vehicles were steam powered. They weren't electric. People forget about steam power. They start talking about internal combustion versus steam and things like that. But people talk about hybrids like there's this new thing called a hybrid out there. Oh my God, hybrids are going to save the world. Like we don't know the math of how electricity transits through stuff. The most well-renowned hybrids on the planet, where they ran fossil fuels and electricity, were World War II submarines. We've been using hybrids for hundreds of years. Trains, every train that you see driving down the road is a hybrid. That's why they're efficient. But the problem winds up is nobody's building hybrid big rigs. They're building hybrid Honda Civics. The reason they don't build hybrid big rigs, you wouldn't be able to collect so many tax dollars from truckers. You know, when you find out that a trucker pays $500 a day in taxes because he has to buy fuel, that's why you don't build hybrid big rigs. Even though we have hybrid trains, you could build a big rig, a smaller version of a train, and make a big rig. They don't do it. Gotta understand why they don't do things, and tax dollars get into the big portion of it. Well, trains ran on whatever fuel was available in the area. Coal is efficient for trains because coal burns so stinking hot. You can build up more boiler pressure with coal than you could with wood. I know that. So, like in mountain regions, they had to burn coal or they couldn't climb mountains. Yeah. You're right. There's just a crap load of them. But I'm an engineering nut. I will sit down and read schematics. It just to say, figure out how that works, you know. To be honest, if I had a big enough shop, I'd probably be rebuilding an old train. Yeah. I went to Lubbock, Texas earlier week for my medical visit. Fuel was $1.22 a gallon. Come back to my democratically run state versus Texas, where we had just as much, if not more, oil, and it's still $2.20 because of taxes. I know I'd never find it because they literally wiped the information on it off the web. There was a plasma generator that they proposed to the city of New York when they had a trash problem. You guys remember when they had trash on barges floating around New York? And a guy goes, I've got this plasma fire generator. And what you basically did was you threw the trash in there, and it was a plasma fire so hot that it turned everything you threw into it literally down to basic carbon form. And I mean, like metal and diapers and whatever you threw into it. And the reason it disappeared, and while it was doing that, while you're throwing trash in there, the trash was sustaining the plasma fire, and the guy was running an electric generator off of it. So he was using garbage to make electricity. Seemed like a very unique way to solve New York's garbage problem, right? We'll generate some power and get rid of the garbage at the same time. Until a reporter raised his hand and said, could you throw coal in it? It literally disappeared from the magazines within 4 weeks. Yes, you can. You can throw coal in it, and it's 100%. And then that's when the key word came up, clean burning coal. Bought and shelved. And that's because one of the reporters said, can you throw coal in it? That patent's never going to be seen. Never going to be seen by anybody. There's another company out of Canada. I used to own stock in this company back in the 90s. And I bought them when they were a penny stock. We were farting around in the middle of the night one night. I bought some of this stuff. And it was an enzyme that you threw all the wet garbage from a city into. And this enzyme ate it. And what was left over were dry pellets. And the dry pellets were nutritious enough that you could put it in dog food. So it eliminated all the wet waste from restaurants and stuff like that. And this company's stock was starting to skyrocket. And then, poof, bought and gone overnight. And that one, I think, really hit a headwind with the unions. You know, the people who pick up your garbage are kind of not on the up and up type stuff. But I remember when the one day that I'd sold out of the stock like 6 months before it just disappeared, no longer existed.
Where do you retain all of this information?
It's all there. Access to it's the problem. Okay, when I was in the military, my only goal in the military was to go do one tour in Operation Deep Freeze. Okay, to be the guy that's left alone in Antarctica over the winter months, you had to be an expert in hydraulics, mechanics, first aid, survival, everything. You're alone in the most hostile environment on the planet. And that was called Operation Deep Freeze. They literally acted like they were throwing you in a deep freezer, and you were there to maintain the test equipment over the harsh winter. And it was a solo thing. And so I got qualified to go do this. And so I spent years and years and years just learning stuff. I had good science teachers. Like I said, I went to a Mennonite school where they taught college education by the time you're 13. They weren't into, we're in 8th grade. They weren't into trying to tell you about safe spaces and stuff. They're telling you about advanced geometry, trigonometry, just science in general. No garbage unions in Boston. Are the garbage workers working for the city in Boston? Oh yeah. Just go follow money. That's the I'm waiting for West Side. He's like, no garbage unions in Boston. I'll guarantee you there's a city union and they're working for the city. I have never met an ununionized garbage worker. Then they're under city contracts. Yeah, that's a different kind of graft. Some of that started happening. I was going to say, some of that started happening about 10 years ago. The number of people signing into being in a union, and for those who don't know how union dues are calculated, you give up 2 hours of your pay that you work every month you give to the union. My wife happens to be our union leader for the refinery out here. She just negotiated their pay contract. Matter of fact, we keep a strike fund around. And because she just settled a new contract for the next 3 years, we get to use a strike fund for Guns of Glory. We're going to be spending some money when we transfer that money. The Colby test? What is the Colby test? Did I lose Kyle? Is he going to make me Google it now that I want to know?
I feel like it's dangerous to just Google things like that.
I got firewall computers. Hold on. I'm not easily offended.
You will be when meatswing.com comes up on your computer through the Colby test.
Yeah, that's meatswingers.com. Home of the Colby A Index. Understands and builds your instinctive strict. Oh, it's an IQ test of some kind. No, I don't play around on that crap. I don't know what they would tell me. I don't already know. I already know my weaknesses. I work around them as much as I can. Now, Kyle, I believe I've seen that before, and they use those in HR hiring departments to match personalities at certain workplaces. Yes, but do you know who owns that private company, Westside? You don't get the Boston trash contract by bidding the lowest bid. I promise you that. It's Boston. Home of the big dig. Let's take a $1 billion project that's supposed to take a year, take 20 years and cost $10 billion and still not be done. They'd never get my passwords. One of the reasons my passwords are secure is because my passwords have zero reflection in life. It literally is a random password. The dig was a great idea. The problem was you got to turn around and say, how about we don't put a bunch of greedy politicians who are selling favors in charge of all this money? For those who hadn't seen, like our mayor or Governor Cuomo out on TV, 1 minute slamming Trump and then going, oh, by the way, Trump's right. That portion's not making it to the TV. Governor Cuomo was $8 billion in debt before the virus hit. And then when the virus hit, when they got ordered to do social distancing, he cut the number of trains in half, doubled the number of passengers in the subways, and spread the virus to the city of New York so fast and so harshly, then declared a disaster and went to the TV and said Trump needs to bail out the government, when he was already $8 billion in the hole because he bought solar panels instead of respirators 2 years ago. His Medicare system in the state of New York was in a disaster, and this exposed it. The media has been sitting quietly and letting that man ramble on without questioning just why. And I'll put this in context. In Chicago, Trump just let the governor of Illinois out of jail. All he did was try to sell a Senate seat. Cuomo killed at least 60 bus drivers with his things and is not in jail yet from his incompetence by lying to cover his budget shortfall. Why Cuomo is not being arrested for murder right now, I do not know. They lost 60 bus drivers because of the policy on how to deal with things. How come the governor of Illinois had to go to jail for 7 years? I didn't like that bastard anyway. It's fine, but he went to jail for 7 years for trying to sell a Senate seat, which everybody knew you did. But Cuomo's still walking around when 60 bus drivers are dead. All these bus drivers were elderly, and they stockpiled people onto them and told everybody, "Oh, keep going to the fairs, keep going." And I heard one of them the other day talking. Man, I would love to just jump on it's usually Democrats because it's usually who gets covered for, but there's 3 Republican governors right now who are trying to pull the same scam that Cuomo's pulling, only they didn't kill anybody doing it. But they are trying to get the federal government to pay for the fact that they can't run their own budgets. Trump didn't tell everybody to stay in their homes. Your governor did. And not a single governor of 50 said the word martial law. And now they're running around TV like, these people are putting people in danger by running around. And it's like, say the word martial law, stay at home. But that's the rule. You don't get to tell me how to move or run around or where I can go until you say the word martial law. Otherwise, you're a guy in a uniform with a gun in my face. Because that's what this is. Go home or I'll shoot you. They're saying I'll throw you in jail, but they got to put a gun in your face to do it. Meanwhile, my VA hospital won't see a patient. So if I get sick, my healthcare system, my socialized healthcare system, is shut down. Stop with the Democrats. Thank you, BK. That money does go straight to my vets. BK285. What is this? Man, do you have a channel? Yeah, we have a whole bunch of vets that we drive back and forth to the VA. Out here where I live, it's 3.5 hours one way. It should be only a 2-hour drive, but we elected a Democratic governor, and we've been working on this 20-mile stretch of road now for 3 freaking years. And you got to drive 15 miles an hour down this stretch of road, so it takes a 2.5-hour drive, turns it into a 4-hour drive each way. Looting. I'll tell you right now, I have more of a problem with the number of people who don't concept that you cannot turn, when a governor turns around and says, hey, I think you should stay at home. That's an opinion. Until they say the word martial law, it's an opinion. Trump didn't tell them to tell it. It didn't happen. But the media's tried to make it sound like Trump told everybody what to do, and he didn't. He said, you deal with your state your way. It's your state. And then the media turned around and said, Trump's telling everybody what to do. He told you to go do what you're supposed to do. And that's one of those things we were talking about earlier when they say, well, Trump said this today. Could you show me the video of him saying that? No. We're just going to tell you what he said. And Fox News is getting as bad as anybody, because if you watch the news at 5, you get the filtered news now, and you got to watch it live during the day to get the unfiltered news. And I'll tell you, you want some laugh and entertainment while you guys are stuck at home? Watch Trump's press releases. Watch that media. Watch the hate on their face. Watch them coordinate questions between each other, trying to trip him up. And that's why they don't put that crap on TV. Watch that live. That is a comedy show. It is pure entertainment. You speaking of looting, I was in L.A. riots in '92. I can tell you right now, the government can and will deploy the military in civil strife, and the media will cover it up. Want to know why I know so much about these politics? I was in the military at the time we did that. I was there when they had the great big earthquake. What was that, 94, 93? That knocked down all the freeways. I was sleeping over at some girlfriend's house. It didn't even wake me, because I was used to sleeping on the ship. Ship violently rocks and shakes, and people saying, biggest earthquake in California history. It didn't even wake me up. I was driving to work that morning and freaking going, man, there's no traffic out here. This is awesome. Baker's dozen. Yeah, right now in California, 700 people a day die normally in California. The COVID deaths, even the ones that they can fake contribute to, equals 2 out of that 700. You wouldn't know those numbers if you didn't look them up, because the news ain't telling you this is a little bit out of control. Now, for somebody like me that's got lung infections all the time, this disease is serious. But it's number 1,001 of what can kill me. I live down here in southern New Mexico. We have disease. We have antibiotic resistant tuberculosis that floats across the Mexican border down here because we don't have the wall yet. That's more likely to kill me than freaking COVID is, though. And I think I actually got COVID last November. My wife was out doing the thing in California. I think she brought it home. I took 2 trips to the emergency room where I couldn't breathe. And then the second time I got it so bad that I couldn't smell or taste. And they were just now talking about that being some of the symptoms. I'm not saying COVID isn't real, but COVID is mild. Right now, as they adjust the numbers, COVID's killing less people than the common cold. Yeah. I tell you what, this was a test run to prove whether or not you could use the medical system to control people. And they did it. It was successful. I told people, look, guys, I've been in the gun industry for a long time, and I get these guys that walk in doing all the tough talk. It's like, oh, they'll pry that gun from my cold, dead hand. I said, no, they won't. They'll knock on the door politely, say, hand me your gun, and you'll give it to them because you don't want to get arrested in front of your family. The number of people who will resist throughout history is a small number. For those who don't know, revolutionary wars are generally fought with 5% of the population. They don't tell you that in the history books. The U.S. war, the U.S. Revolutionary War, was a historical anomaly where 15% of the population actually fought England. Robert, it doesn't matter if you have martial law because they complied. You do need to know the fact that that person has a job, power, and authority. And if they say, I'm going to arrest you, and there are 9 states that are arresting people, you cannot do that without saying the word martial law. I get it. You think they should have complied. They didn't comply. But at the same time, the government didn't do its job. It didn't say, you know what, screw you guys. I'm declaring martial law. I'm going to arrest you. You are now under curfew. Okay? Because this is a curfew being imposed. You can't have it both ways. It cannot be the governor's personal opinion that you stay in your home and they arrest you that they don't. While you call Trump acting like a king, your governor actually is doing so, if you're in one of those states. I don't know that it was funded by Bill Gates, but Bill Gates did give a speech 9 months ago quoting that this was going to happen. And he's one of those Bilderberg assholes. I don't know that he funded it. They just did, what was it, Santa Monica? They did some small town where they tested everybody. And over 30% already had it and it passed. This thing spread last November. The numbers that we were seeing that were getting out of control, New York would have never gotten as bad as Cuomo had to done what he done. If he'd have doubled the number of trains and then turned around and went back to Trump and said, hey, I had to double the number of trains in order to keep people working and spread them out a little bit, but it's bankrupting us. I personally would say, that's reasonable. We can pay for that. He didn't do that. He cut them in half, killed people. He needs to go to jail for that. Policy doesn't trump law. And what I'm upset about is people don't know their rights. It doesn't matter, if you agree and you consent to it, that's fine. Well, but like I said, it's no governor can turn around and look. The Supreme Court has said your car is an extension of your home. And therefore, when they started, and this is the problem I have with the Republican governor in Florida, we're going to start pulling over cars with New York plates. You can't do that. So I'll take the Democrat off the board. The governor of Florida, the Republican, was wrong for pulling people over because they had New York plates. Because the law is he cannot make that decision until he says the word martial law. End of story. But no one wanted to be the guy on the news doing that. And I'm sorry, it's not a marketing campaign. Everybody wanted to look like a hero, but no one wanted to make the rights go away. Funny thing is, those masks don't protect you, they protect the guy. If you have COVID and have one of those masks on, it helps you stop spreading it. If you don't have COVID, but somebody else does and is not wearing a mask, even though you got the mask on, you're probably going to get it. They don't even know how the masks work either. That's why they were talking about the N95s as they were a two-way system. Those other ones are dust masks. They don't stop squat. Well, Virginia has multiple whammies. Virginia tried to ban guns, then arrest people for moving around in public. I'm telling you, the minute the government says you can't move, that is somebody with a gun sticking it in your face, telling you what to do. And if you don't know what the Second Amendment's for, it's to stop people from putting a gun in your face and telling you what to do. Just because they're the government doesn't give them the right. That guy that works for the government has no more rights than you do. It's people. The next generation is being taught how to be good socialists. I'm fearful for the next 20 years because way too many people didn't say, and I'm not saying that they should have gone out to the beach or ignored the social isolating, but 99% of the damn population drives to work in their car. That makes them socially isolated. And you can implement things at the door. And if you got people that are... Walmart did not pull its damn greeters until last week, and they had to be ordered by the federal government to do so. Walmart has what's called janitor's insurance on that 90-year-old man waving hello to you at the door, and that 90-year-old man just met everybody in town this week. Walmart's about to clean up on dead old people. Aisle 1. Guys, you've got to separate common sense from reality. They called that 90-year-old greeter an essential personnel. But Walmart didn't have enough common sense that maybe the old people shouldn't be standing there where everybody can talk to them. Walmart, as big as it is, should have gone on a hiring spree, hiring 20-year-olds and put their elderly staff on a mild layoff, paying them or making sure they got something to get them out of the store. That did not happen. That's what I would have done. Matter of fact, that's what I suggested. Took a damn week and a half for that suggestion to filter up to the top. Yeah, I'm just saying. Watch the stupidity. Hurts us all. And like I said, I'm at one of these risk guys. But that's because I get... Yeah, they were going after this, well, the federal government should get us these swabs for testing. The federal government doesn't make one item. Nothing. The federal government produces nothing. They don't. If they did, they buy them from private companies. And then they literally walked out and says, and the federal government should go put a gun in some company's face and tell them to make cotton swabs. Okay, asshole. Those things are made in China. So every Democratic governor on TV who said that the government should go force the guy to make more cotton swabs so they can do testing just endorsed invading China. They didn't say that, but if we did what they said we do, or they would do as president, we'd be invading China tomorrow so we can go get cotton swabs. The great cotton swab war of 2020. That's how dumb they are to listen to. They're in charge of states and don't even understand how a manufacturing process works. It's called janitor's insurance. Yeah, the guy at the door, if he's over 60 and he's a door greeter and they do that, they know he's likely to get a disease. They've been doing this for 30 years. This ain't new. They know he's likely to get a disease from the public, and they buy what's called janitor's insurance on it because janitors tend to be older people. They clean up kids' pukes. Kids get sick. They're nasty. And the janitors at schools die early. And so these companies and school districts buy insurance policies not to pay the families, but to pay themselves when the old guy they hired to clean up diseased puke or to breathe diseased air dies prematurely. And it's known as janitor's insurance. It's been around for 80 years. But Walmart, it's a corporate policy to buy that stuff for their elderly. Well, to them, it's just a number, right? We have to hire somebody to greet at the door. Why not hire somebody that can make our money back? We pay him $30,000 a year. We collect $200,000 when he dies every year. Hire somebody else. No one thinks that it's the fault of the company putting that old guy at the door, letting every diseased person in town walk by him with whatever disease they have. And it's thousands of diseases. No one ever puts that two and two together. But everybody who just heard me understands what I'm saying. They just can't believe in a bunch of right. They're going, who would do that? Well, it's corporate policy. I can't. I got a lumbar puncture and an eye surgery coming up. I can't. I hadn't drank in a long time till the other night, and then I can't do that. I got surgeries and procedures coming up that I can't do that stuff for a while. May not be able to do it ever after. Who knows? The man, guys, I was leaving hours ago. Because I do have a headache. I know it's hard to tell. I stick through this stuff because I like talking about this stuff. I like delving into problems. Some of these problems to me seem like common sense. I don't know why we don't. But my common sense and everybody else's common sense are not the same thing. It's like we spent, and the whole thing that we started this live topic about was we argued for an hour in KC on why they couldn't use line to hide the conversation and or a private room in Guns of Glory to hide the conversation. And I said, why can't you just let everybody come back and read what you said at their leisure? My argument has been open conversation that everybody can witness. Yeah. Give me a second. Man, I doubt I'm going to get any sleep. I feel like I got a fever. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate everybody. Thanks a lot. I've got a couple more videos that I should have done tomorrow. I know I've been cranking them out a little faster than I normally have, but that's because I'm trying to make videos smaller that work with other videos, reach a market in a different way, learn from my mistakes of the past, move forward. This is a lot more fun. This is definitely getting bigger and bigger every time we do it. Yeah. We talked about how many people we could possibly put into the sound system without it becoming a clustered mess for everybody listening to. Yeah. where you put your phone number in so you get text messages? Oh, look. You can text 218, text the word join to 218 get game. GETGAME. I don't know what the number is. But I actually bought a vanity name. No. In your profile. Oh, if you're over on the website, edit your profile, and down there it'll ask for your phone number. Make sure your country code's in there, or my system doesn't work. I'm only sending out texts to the United States right now. Britain cost me like 7 cents a text. There's a lot of taxes on anything that crosses out of the United States. My coughing is actually an irritated throat. I got chemically burnt down in my throat and lungs a long time ago. So it's always scratchy, itchy, and then my coughing creates coughing. Before they went and started having all these news stories about narcotic use, they used to give me a little cough syrup with a little bit of codeine in it. You know, codeine turns into morphine in your blood system. And I didn't abuse, but just a little bit would stop me from coughing for weeks if I could just calm it down just enough to let it heal a little bit. And now I'm not allowed to have it because other people abuse it. Scroll down. It's close to the bottom of the page. It'll ask you for your phone number. Yeah. One of my other problems with coughing is I've coughed for so many decades now that your body learns to breathe shallower so you don't irritate it. And sometimes I'll run myself out of breath because I'm not breathing while I'm awake. Damn sure don't do it while I'm sleeping. I have no clue what that says in Russian. I think that's a spammer. Yeah, that's it. They prescribed me Lyrica for all the freaking neuro pain a dozen times now, and no one will let me have it. Yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks, BK. I'll look in game tomorrow, see what's going on there. Till later, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks.